Yeah, good morning. It is, if I'm not mistaken, Wednesday. Hey, it's church day. Make sure to head to a local church tonight. It's going to be a lot of services going on. How are you? Weird to say it's in the 60s this morning, 69 rather. Nice and peaceful as we begin this day. The high of 89 is what we're expecting. We do have a smidgen of a chance of showers this afternoon, somewhere around 30% chance, but mostly sunny for the most part as we burn this fog off this morning as we get this day underway. How's everybody feel? I hope well. Hope you're doing really, really good as we get this day going. We'll be right back. We're going to go out and get our morning inspiration there. Brother Ben has a word for us.
I want to read you one of the most powerful statements about Jesus Christ. It comes from Philippians 2, 9 through 11, which says, "Therefore God also highly exalted him and bestowed on him the name that is above every name, so that at the name of Jesus every knee will bow, of those who are in heaven and on earth and under the earth, and that every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God our Father." Now that is a powerful statement about our powerful Savior. Every single person who's ever lived will one day bow their knee to him. That means they'll surrender and show reverence. And every single person who has ever lived will one day confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. They will declare what has always been true, that He is the supreme power and the rightful ruler of creation. Now, some might hear that and say, oh, so everybody will be saved? Well, no, I'm afraid that's not what that means. Every person will indeed bow their knee to Christ, and everybody will certainly confess that Christ is Lord, but some will do so in crushing defeat and resounding condemnation. Those who reject Jesus their whole life will one day appear before Him, and they will bow and confess with great sorrow, like a conquered foe heading for exile. But beloved, it doesn't have to be this way, right? Your surrender and confession doesn't have to be in sorrow after it's everlastingly too late. You can bow and confess now to Christ. Your surrender and confession can be with much joy and in great victory. I mean, don't wait. Do so now while grace and mercy are extended to you. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. And welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that message. Brother Ben, they invite you by. They'll be having services tonight. And again, many churches have services on Wednesday. Hope you can find one that fits your needs there. Good morning, Diane. I see Elmer join us, Beth and Rick, so many of you up and going. We reach a lot of homes every morning, and we can't say thank you enough for letting us be a part of what you do every day. From coffee to having breakfast or whatever it is, we appreciate you inviting us into your home. As we take a look at national headlines, those headlines that are shaping America this morning, we'll go to New York City. Do you remember former Michael Bloomberg, the mayor there? Remember him? He's going to be endorsing Andrew Cuomo for New York City mayor. A little endorsement there. Yeah, that's the way to put it, as Odie said, 2 peas in a pod. That'd be a tough one to, well, there's a reason I live in Mississippi, I guess. We'll leave it at that. Guess who's coming around? What was that song? I can remember back in the 90s, Paul Overstreet. Mama's Come Around to Daddy's Way of Thinking. Do y'all remember that song? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But GM Motors is what I'm talking about, is they're now going to invest $4 billion in U.S. plants. They were moving everything to Mexico. Imagine that. You make it where people want to be in America and give jobs to our citizens. Just a small thought there. Alabama went through with this last night as they executed a death row inmate for a 1988 beating of a woman that he once dated. He met his maker at 626 last night in South Alabama. We'll leave it at that. As you get into sometimes lawsuits, you go, well, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We go to Baton Rouge for a headline this morning. You can only imagine how this works. Did you ever watch Anchorman, to where the two rivalry news stations were constantly fighting? We had a newscaster that was allegedly arrested. Then it turns out he wasn't guilty of what he was arrested for when the competitor went on to call him a pedophile. And he is now suing. He ended up losing his job over the whole thing. But whatever, a dating app, I don't know, Odie, did you ever use this? I can't find the name of it. But it's a local dating app to where he went on. This girl sent him a message, said she was 19 years old, wanted to meet him. And, well, they exchanged texts. It'd probably make your mother blush. He went to meet her, and he was brutally attacked by 3 men after he went in. It was a setup to rob him the entire time. Then the person went back and changed their age to 16 to make it look as though he was meeting someone that was underage, which he did not do. He resigned from his job to where it wouldn't look bad. He never got his job back, and the competitor made him look very bad. He's suing him for something he didn't do with a 16-year-old. Everything was set up to be a 19-year-old when it happened, and he was whooped pretty bad. They're in court now. We'll see how that one turns out. But that's just Anchorman all over as we look at this. Watch this when you go on vacation. If it's bigger than you, it usually can hurt you. And what I'm talking about is, well, bears, tigers, lions, and all the above, including buffalo. The second person has been gored this week. Yellowstone National Park, getting too close to a buffalo. It's all right to take their picture from a distance, but just don't get too close. He's going to be okay, but he did get gored. As we look to Wyoming, I didn't realize this was even going on last night. The lowest it will reach in 37 years. I've never wanted to measure the moon. But as the moon come up, it's set at its lowest level in Wyoming for the next 37 years last night. Hopefully, if you're in Wyoming, you got a great picture of that. Pretty, I'm sure. Not so much here in Mississippi. What will it cost the taxpayer for the troops to be deployed to L.A.? They're putting a dollar figure on this to be somewhere around $134 million, the Pentagon says. Let's pause and think about that. $134 million. What are they doing? How much does it cost the American taxpayer what they're tearing up? Had they been deployed immediately, maybe it would have been, well, stopped. We have one Republican that's not with Trump on this. This is Susan Collins. I think she's voted against him and other things before, but she voices her disapproval. Maxine Walters, well, of course she has no approval of this. She goes, there's nothing going on. They're peaceful. While all around we see buildings burning, and they are actually shooting at police in L.A. I'm not making it up. You can look this up and see that pretty easy there. We even had Newsom, if you saw this, tear up as he talked about democracy being torn down. Now again, they're looting, they're stealing, they're breaking the law. I don't want anybody to be misled about what's really going on out there. He warns that more will be deployed if this happens in other states as well. If you nip it in the bud the moment it starts, they will quit throwing bottles. They will quit looting. If you handle it quickly, arrest all those involved, you won't have it happen again. Oh, they may try, but you know what I mean by that. You've got to show that there's a line you can't cross. Texas is doing that. They're deploying National Guard to ensure peace and order where protests are being planned. They're going to be standing by. They're not going to let it take over in Texas. I think that's good. Newsom is really going to start to cry over this one as we learn that President Trump is getting ready to do some, again, sweeping resolutions. He'll be signing some more pieces of paper, biting into the emission standards in California. If I'm not mistaken, they're probably the worst on automakers of what can be done with cars and gas. They're going to be attacking that to fix that in California. I don't know if you can. Did y'all realize this? Trump's birthday is apparently coming up this weekend, and they're planning that military parade in Washington as it will go by. I think they're fitting the roads with a special so it won't tear up the concrete. And they say if you jump out and try to protest in front of this, you will be arrested. I didn't realize that. I've heard talk about it, but I just didn't realize his birthday was that quick there. Oh, what is this I'm reading? A federal court has just restored President Trump's tariff authority.
Sure did.
Rump row.
And full control over all department heads.
Full control over all department heads. This is, he is the president, and that's usually how this works. We've seen more fighting and trying to say you can't do this. If you can send us into war, you should be able to handle things that are on our land. It amazes me. But again, we have a serious problem with everything being executive orders and Congress doing absolutely nothing. I think there's been 5 pieces passed. So everything that's been done will be undone in 2 years. Y'all know that. I'm just giving you a reminder of what's on the way there. Elon, did y'all see this? Has put up, I'm sorry. He tweeted, I regret some of my posts about President at Real Donald Trump last week. They went a little too far, is what Elon said. Well, they were mad, weren't they? The first buddy got way upset there. I read this, and I didn't know this was actually going on. You hear tell of it. The U.S. House just voted 266 to 148 to repeal a D.C. law that let non-citizens vote in local elections. Did y'all hear that? Non-citizens could vote in D.C. The House just voted 266 to 148 to repeal that. Now, this may have to go on to the Senate before it's actually cleared up, but I didn't realize they legally could do that there. I hadn't paid a lot to politics, I guess, out of the area. Do you remember last week when we talked about the 21-year-old female sailor that was found deceased? They've arrested another sailor in connection to her death. Not a lot of details are out yet, but someone has been arrested. As we get more information on that, we'll pass that along. A Baltimore jail staffed, they're failed is the way they're putting this as it goes to court. They had someone that was arrested that was deaf. They failed to protect him against his cellmates. I wouldn't fare well in jail. It just would not be my cup of tea. With all seriousness, imagine being put into jail for something that you didn't do. There's bad folks in there. No one is coming to help you in those jail cells. Y'all know this. You've seen the movies. I think you've probably talked to 1 or 2 people that have been in jail before. It's some bad hombres that are in there. Rightly so. That's where they belong. But it's some bad things that go on in there. A Costco shopper. Well, of course, we don't have those, I don't think, in Mississippi, or at least I hadn't seen any that I'm aware of, is suing $14 million after a display cabinet fell on her. Now, I don't know how big the cabinet was or anything like that, and I just know she's suing. It could have been small, it could have been large. We are already in day 24 of the Sean Diddy trial. Are y'all aware of that? And this is what's sad about this. You know what he called himself? He was the Michael Jordan of sex parties, is the way he referred to himself. Boy, isn't that something to be proud of? Needed someone to be someone to guide that young fellow there. He's in deep trouble, as we all know that. Ireland. They handle protesters a little bit different in Ireland as we see this, and they got out of hand, and they got the fire department involved. Nipped it in the bud. Police rescue a 64-year-old woman. New York City is where this happened, and you can only imagine as she wrecked, car flipped, caught on fire. Police ran to the rescue, got her out of the car in the nick of time, saved her life. That makes you feel good. Now, I had to look back on this to understand what this was about. Apparently in 2004, we had an Olympic runner that got a gold medal, won some big award, that when he came off the field, he took his shoes off and had someone spray his feet with a fire extinguisher to say that his feet were on fire. He was so fast. Everybody with me on this? This leads to our next story. I'd have to look his name back up. But a family is threatening legal action after their track star daughter was disqualified after celebrating paying homage to him. After she won the track meet, her daddy goes out and puts a fire extinguisher on her feet. She's been expelled from the race and taken away for doing that. Who's right, who's wrong, I don't know. But I didn't know we had an Olympian do that. Matter of fact, let me be honest, I can't watch the Olympics. It's kind of like watching paint dry.
I like watching curling.
You like watching curling, like curling irons, or do they have that in
where
there?
you throw that little thing down the ice and then people stand in front of it and sweep it.
That's they do that on ships, don't they? Shuffleboard. That's what that
like
is.
Shuffleboard on ice.
Shuffleboard. I don't know, but I've just never been a big fan of that. It just does not have my interest. I know a lot of people watch it, and again, it's like watching golf to me. But what's the point? I'm gonna make somebody mad, aren't I?
You can't talk and golf.
I know. 4. Bubba wouldn't say it that way.
Watch out.
Taylor Swift has filed a restraining order against an alleged stalker. She says he makes me fear for my safety. I would hate to think how big she's probably got a bigger protection than the entire Marine Police Department. That girl's got the money to have an entourage. A GOP senator is one of these that is throwing this out there. Josh Hawley. He is from Missouri, if I'm not mistaken. He's trying to introduce a bill that would raise minimum wage to $15. Thought you ought to know. Remember the band Heart?
Yeah.
I can't remember any of the songs, but they were big. I do know that. They had 2 instruments stolen while at a concert. And believe it or not, we've talked about this before of how police can track a car after it steals something. Say, that they were driving a 2003 Honda Accord. The police could type that in and track where that car went in a city. That's how they found the culprits. You know where you can't do that, Odie?
Where that at?
Meridian, Mississippi.
Oh.
But we do have a true crime center coming that will not offer that at $1.5 million. Thought you might want to know that. Let's see what else we've got going on this morning. SpaceX says it's ready to privately launch 4 of its astronauts into the International Space Station. Good luck to them on that. I hope that works out there. Let's see. I've never done this, nor do I want to. These genealogy sites. You ever done it, Odie?
No.
23andMe is one of the bigger ones, and I forget what that other one was that was so popular there. They're suing them to block the sale of what they get from you. How many times have we heard that's how a crime is solved through DNA because somebody in that family is a member of this? Maybe you sign that in the waiver when you buy that package, giving away your rights for them to do that.
They tell you, if I'm not mistaken, that they're going to provide that.
Mm-hmm. So they do tell you about that. Just so, in case you're a criminal thinking about doing that, just a little heads up this morning there as you're drinking your coffee.
Back to your whole family, so
Yeah.
you're going to get caught anyway.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Do you remember the lady? Now let me back up. Let me take that part out. The representative, McIlver. She's been indicted on federal charges over her clash with law enforcement at the ICE facility in New Jersey. You remember that? How she was pushing on officers? She's been indicted. She says that she'll be proven guilty in a court of law. I saw the video. I'm going to say she's got trouble and needs a good lawyer. And we'll leave it at that. I had in my head, and I guess I misunderstood this. Do you remember the 11 inmates that broke out in New Orleans? I thought those final 2 had been caught. Apparently not. There's 2 still on the loose in the New Orleans area, or wherever they may have ended up there. There you go. We'll be right back with your weather forecast next, as we'll get into this at the Scotty Ray Report.
Hi, this is Nick at Doc's Toyota, and we are excited to put you in a new Toyota today. We have no dealer markup, no hidden fees, no hassle, and our inventory is always priced to move. Our top-notch sales department and first-class service after the sale guarantees you a fast and comfortable buying experience like you've never had. So come see why month after month, more and more customers have chose to buy from Doc's Toyota. So come see us here at Doc's Toyota in Philadelphia, at docstoyota.com or on Facebook. And remember, there's no deal like a Doc's deal.
Meridian's favorite barbecue is Squealer's Barbecue, named the barbecue capital for the state of Mississippi. Whether it's barbecue, wings, or burgers, Squealer's simply has the best for a family environment. Every Thursday night, there's live music out on the porch. Takeout orders are welcome, and whether it's your next tailgate or large catering event, your friends at Squealer's are there to help. Drop in for lunch today or a night out on the town. Squealer's Barbecue, the best in fine barbecue.
Thanks, Wesley. I'd forgotten the name. It was Ancestry.com. That was a big one that used to be, and it may still be around. But I just couldn't think of that name when I was trying to. Yeah, send it in. They'll tell you who you're kin to. As we go to radar this morning, let's pull up Doc's Toyota radar as we see that we got some fog in northern Lauderdale County on the eastern side going into Kemper County. If you're traveling Highway 45 all the way to Scuba, it's thick. Giles, Mississippi. Y'all can't even see the dirt road up there. Drifting over to Geiger, Alabama, all the way to Gainesville, Livingston. Y'all have got a bunch there. And as we go to the west side, up in Philadelphia, Highway 16 from DeKalb all the way into Philadelphia. Highway 21, if you're going to be traveling that out of Noxubee County. Highway 15 north of Philadelphia and around Noxapater. There's a lot of fog in there this morning. Y'all be careful anywhere north of Meridian. Just be on the safe side. We show that we've got fog there in Alexandria over in Louisiana, and also Alexandria City there, Alexander City there in Alabama. Auburn under a fog advisory this morning. It's a heap out there as you back out and look at this. Look at the showers we've got over near Waco and Dallas. Be careful if you're heading west of Meridian on I-20, any of those areas there. You're going to get into some rain around Dallas this morning. Let's get into our forecast now.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA.
Record highs and record lows. Still 1977 holding it for 2 days in a row at 100. It was 1988. It was a little cooler, 47 today back then, if you're keeping up with those. Here's what we've got for today. 89 today, a chance of showers there. Only a 30% chance. The further south that you go toward the coast, the chances increase there. So scattered showers there south of Meridian. As we see Alabama, we should see 87 in Demopolis is what we're thinking. 86 rather in Selma, and Auburn should be a nice 85 today. Here's the weather forecast there for the next few days as we see that we've got warm weather, but not quite as bad as they've got it on the eastern coastline up to the Carolinas and southern Florida. It's going to be warm. As we look at our 7-day forecast, 88 to 89 today for the high. Only a 40% chance. Now we get real serious about the rain beginning tomorrow. 70% chance Thursday, Friday, Saturday, increasing to an 80% chance on Sunday and Monday, and still Tuesday of next week, a 70% chance of wet weather. Couldn't get it out, could I? Odds of us getting wet after today are pretty strong. Last chance to get that grass cut. As we move all the way through June 25th, as the month will be coming close to an end there. Look at this, 90s. We're into those. Up to 94, those heat indexes are going to rise. As we see that each day, about a 20% chance of rain. It decreases the second week as we look at all of this. Getting better. Now let's look at our fishing forecast from our friends out at Clarkdale Superette. Well, they'll hook you up with some minnows and whatever you need there. Calm wind today, around 5 miles an hour this afternoon. Major time to fish today is going to be right at high noon until about 2 o'clock. Minor time after dark, and had a minor time this morning around 6 a.m. Sunrise happened at 5:47. Sunset, we're getting another 2 minutes of daylight. It won't happen until 8:02 this afternoon. Well, that's getting on out there, isn't it? That's good stuff. Now, we'll be back in a few moments as we get ready for more coffee and another cup of coffee as we'll get your day underway. We had a lot of things happen in the area yesterday. Well, did y'all see that car chase? We're going to tell you all about it, where it stopped and where they got away. All that's up and coming at the top of the hour here at the Scotty Ray Report.